followed my knees. Just like this. I followed my knees right there. And I was praying deeply into the Lord, and I was crying. I started crying. I started weeping and weeping. And there's something that I feel in my throat right here that I can, the more I cry, the heavier it gets. And I would just keep crying and crying, and I would just let it go. But then, I will say about 10 minutes of praying right there on my knees, I heard this aisle where Rogers and Lee was sitting. I heard someone walk into the room. I feel someone walk into the room. Like I can literally feel this. And when I hear those steps moving into the room, I feel like, my hair started getting out, my whispers. I feel whispers on my body. And I say, Lord, I thought someone walked into this fellowship room and started sharing with me, maybe start praying or something. But I never opened my eyes. I would just keep praying. And just maybe about 30 seconds after I hear those walk-ins like that, right where about Rogers and Leo is, they were moving those chairs violently, like this. And you can hear one chair banging against another because they're metals. And I was just thinking, what is this? I mean, like, why would they be moving the chairs? Why would they be, I don't know, I thought they were separating chairs or someone. That's what I thought, someone was there. I opened my eyes, and this is what the most scary part, because when I open my eyes, I see nobody. I see nobody. I battled with situations like this in the past. When you go in ministry, when you go preaching, and you go and you are part of crusades, a lot of people come to the front when you do the altar call, and when you start praying, you see people physically be possessed by demons, and they start screaming, and you see their long nails and long tongues, and they're crying, and they're speaking on weird and different tongues, and even their voices change. So I experienced these things in the past, but I never battled like this in my life before. And when I open my eyes and I see nobody, I just said, that's it. I am in a war right now. I was crying. I started crying because I say, wow, by the time I get to the door, who I'm going to face? By the time I start walking away from this fellowship, who is going to be there? And a lot of things was going through my head. And I started getting scary and crying. And then I forget praying for about, maybe I will say, good 2 minutes. And I was just crying, Lord, why is this? Don't let me go through this. Don't let me feel this place, Lord. And I was crying. And I was feeling the same way David felt. Like where my help was going to come from now. Like there was no one with me in the house of the Lord.
Right.
And I closed my eyes and I keep praying and I keep praying. I was praying. And then this became even more tense, more scary, because on that hole right there, those lights were off. And I can hear now not only one, but more. Then you hear like 3, 4, like I thought people were running back and forward, and then that's when I stood up. This is the Bible that I was holding. I get up and I was praying back and forward, and I started crying, and then my legs started shaking, very violent.
Glory.
My body, I started shaking.
Hallelujah.
Yes,
At one point I said, Lord, why are you letting me go through this right now? Don't let me experience this in here right now. I mean, like, when you experience a battle with the spirits on a daytime, or where there's more people with you, it's totally different than when you are by yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you see, like, when Moses was looking when Israel was going through a big battle, remember that, and every time Moses bring his hands down, Israel started losing the battle, but every time he raised his hands, his arms up again, Israel started winning the battle again. But there was time when Moses started getting tired and his hands go down. You need always someone to be there with you. And I say, Lord, please don't let me go through this by myself in here. And I started getting scared, and I walk out through that door. And I will start walking with the Bible. I was holding the Bible very tight with me, and I start walking. When I get right where the water cooler is, I see pretty good, at least it could it be 10 feet high, black shadow. No ears, no mouth, no eyes. And it was like a transparent black shadow, like a smoke. And it was moving back and forward like a 1 feet side, 1 feet to the other. And it was moving back and forward. The first thing I thought was, I'm going to get out of here through the exit door, to the emergency door. But then I thought that I have my keys on my jacket. I have left my jacket on the front, right, the foyer is where the other telephone is. And I say, Lord, I hold the Bible. If this was a plastic Bible or a glass Bible, I could break it easily the way I was holding it. I was squishing it. My heart started pumping like I was running about 40 kilometers an hour. And I started sweating like if I was in an oven, like I will say 40, 50 degrees. I was sweating. And I say, why I'm sweating? And I can feel the Bible all wet over my hands. Then I said, well, I'm going to have to go to get my jacket. And I start walking toward the shadow. And the shadow was, it was dissipating. Is that the right way to say it? It was dissipating very slowly, very slowly. By the time I get to where the shadow was, I just turn around and I see my jacket. And I didn't want to go where my jacket was. But I react so quickly and I say, I better do this quickly. And I got to go set the alarm and run out of this place right now. The devil was trying to scare me, get me out of this place without finish my praying. That's the way I see it. But then when I went and I grabbed my jacket and I put my green leather jacket on, I'm telling you, I feel the shadow again behind me. And you can feel that it's a big giant. Because when I see it from here, from the cooler, I can see the shoulder and the head of the shadow goes higher than this ceiling. Goes higher than the ceiling. That's why I said it couldn't be no less than 10 feet high. And it was moving back and forward. I can see the head moving back and forward right on the false ceiling. And when I put my jacket on, I can feel like he was behind me, standing behind me. Whatever it was, the demon, the devil, the pure devil, the big one, whatever was behind him, he was blowing into me like, and I can feel my hair moving aside. I can feel when I feel that, at first I thought I was going to pass out. Because my feet dig as stone cold and freeze right where I was standing. And I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? I can just go like that. And I was praying. I started going back to Psalms 91, the Psalms that I was reading just half an hour before, and I was sitting in Spanish. I was going over, and then when I was walking to where the alarm is, I turned around and I said, in the name of Jesus, get out of here. And there was no shadow when I turned around.
That's right.
Now I set up the alarm and I was sweating big time again. And it takes me a while for me to sweat. You know that when I'm working in construction and I move back and forward, I don't easily sweat a lot. But over here, that day, I was sweating like I was running 40 kilometers an hour, and like I've been running for over an hour or 2 hours. When I set the alarm on, I walked to the door, and I was praying. I said, Lord, I want you, Holy Spirit, to stay here. We need your angels. We need archangels. We need there's a word to say it in English, but I don't find the appropriate way to say. You know that the Lord said that when we call, He can send legions of angels, and they can come in thousands and thousands. And I say, Lord, send thousands of angels into this place and let them be here and guard this place, because this is your house. This is your place. This is being called the house of the Lord, and good things have been happening here. I don't know about bad things, but whatever's been happening, Lord, take them away. Just leave the good. And when I walk out of this building, I went into my car. I start my car, and when I look up to the main entrance, right by the stairs, I see the shadow again. Another big black shadow, transparent shadow. And it was moving still back and forward. And it was just keep staring, looking at me, because I can see it didn't have no eyes, no mouth, no ears. But you can see if the shadow is facing to you or is facing to a different direction. I was in my car and I see the shadow facing right into me. And